right, so we've got the lines done. Let's just quickly, that's the wrong one, control minus. Come on, control minus. Let's just kind of quickly color the things in. I'm just going to pull this up so I can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to turn these layers off and just keep the building on so I can, concentrate just on the one thing there. So, oops. Let's see. Let's do fit in window. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to try and basically just work on this part here and go from there. So I'm just going to go to my fill tool and make sure you're on the properties tab. Here we have our tool settings. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on the fill. Now it has these like predetermined colors, but obviously that's not really a plethora of options. So if you go up here, you can actually click on the color wheel, and then you have a whole variety of options, which is obviously probably a bit more preferred, I would say. So I'm going to basically keep it in the yellow range, I would say, and then we're just going to kind of go to this gray. And I'm going to guesstimate what that color is. We'll say like that, and I'll hit OK. And then I'm just going to fill in here. And then, let's see. Well, we'll do the sign wall afterwards. That one's filled. Let's let a little bit of a darker color. Okay, so none of that's going to work. So let's go ahead and again choose this, and we'll hit again to this. And now we're just going to go with a darker version of it, like so. Hit OK, and click in here, and click in here, and we will make that the same color. It should probably be a little bit darker. So click on that. Oops. I'll do it this way too. And we'll go just a little bit darker. Okay, like that, and we'll click that one in. Great. And then this one's going to need color as well. So let's do the eyedropper real quick because I forgot to fill in the one. So I'm going to eyedrop this, and then we're going to make this one also that color, just because you have to figure the light's coming this way, so they should be kind of lit the same way. And then I'm going to make this one's color, just to keep things simpler. So I'm going to eyedrop that one, and color that one that. And then this color should basically be this color, right? So I'm just going to hit I for eyedropper, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what it is. I feel like it should be a different color than that one, though. Okay, I'm going to make this a different color altogether. So I'm going to eyedrop, already got that one, okay. And then we'll just use it over here. I'm going to hit the little swatch, and I'm just going to go slightly darker, but not as dark as the other one. Hit okay. There we go, that's a little bit better. It just seemed weird for it to be the same color. Okay, now I need to fill in basically this area. So I'm going to eyedrop, and let's see if we can just sample, I guess, that color. It's a little bit hard because obviously it's, let's see, that works for me. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. Actually, I'm going to fill this one in first, and we're going to do the other one a little bit darker of a version of that. So I'm just going to kind of bring this down a little bit. Hit OK. Boom. Okay. So now, sort of have the rough coloring, if you will, of this object here. A couple of things, though. If I turn this off, you can see it has these these things across, right? So it's like cut up into places. And also this has these rows. So we're making this cartoony kind of, so we can kind of disregard it a little bit, but we kind of can't too, because obviously this just looks like a big sheet of glass and it doesn't look that great. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the line tool here. And I'm going to use the stroke, and we're just going to go ahead and find a color. I'm just going to go like this, and we'll kind of do something similar to what we had before. So real light, kind of white like that. Well, I'll show you. Actually, I don't want to do that. I'm going to show you. We're going to do this first. I want to eyedrop this color here, okay? And then what we're going to do is I want you to grab the line tool, and then we're going to make it a certain thickness. So let's try 10. See what that looks like. 10's fine. Okay. 15. Let's go back to 10. Okay, so we're going to go with 10. Now, when when I draw the lines, you may have noticed that when we get closer, what I want to do basically is draw the those lines there, right? But what you're going to notice is when we get close, see how it's overlapping? And the reason why is that, I'm going to go ahead and select this so you can see it. Because then when you select the things, you can actually change, because they're strokes and they're vectors, we can actually change them in real time. What you're going to see is this. Most of it's fine, but down here, this is the reason why it's happening. So you see it's ending on a round cap. It means when the line is done, it's round. If instead I choose this one, it's going to make it a straight cap, and you can see it'll actually cut off at the end instead of rounding it out. And they have this also for when you have bends. They have these as well. I'm not going to have any bends. Actually, let's click this one. So anyway, that's why it's doing that. So let's back this thing up again. And let's go ahead and go to this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a darker line for the shadow, just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Let's turn that off. If you look, you see how there's these white lines here, but then like it's a little bit darker from the shadow that they create. So I'm going to basically try to mimic that. So go to, yeah, I got that. Sample that. Okay. And there we go. I'm just going to click this to swap that color so that now the stroke is that. And then I'm going to click on the stroke here and click on this, and I'm just going to make it a darker version of that. We'll go like that. And I'm just going to draw the lines how I think they should be, sort of. So I'm just going to kind of guesstimate. If you hold shift, it'll keep it in 45-degree increments after you start drawing. So I'm just going to drag it down, and I'm just going to do it every so often to give the appearance of what it is. Because quite frankly, it just needs to be broken up. Off on the end, I don't care. Okay. And then also we'll cut it across this way. Like that. And I guess we'll do 4. Probably should have done half and then half and half, but that would have been a smarter way of doing it. There we go, but I'm not a smart man. Okay. So we're gonna say that that is sort of it broken up. And then for the one going across this way, I'm just gonna take the same color, but I'm gonna lighten it a little bit. So again, click on this, and I'm just going to bring it up a little bit because it should be the same as this one. And we're going to click, and actually, let's start from the middle one, and we'll just kind of go. I guess that's the halfway mark. Click on this one, halfway, and there. Okay, and then we'll just do one this way, up and down as well. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it definitely gives the idea of it being, like it's windows. Now another trick we could do is this. I could double click on these lines and it'll grab all the corresponding lines. And what you can do is I can control shift. If you do control V or control C and then you do control V, so control C copy. If I do control V, it's gonna paste it in the center of where you're looking. So it's naturally gonna shift it over. But if I do control shift V, it'll paste it in place. I think that works in Photoshop as well. So I'm going to do that, and then what I'm going to do is go up, oops, that was too much, up. I'm using the arrows here, like this. I might take this off because I'm not sure if I like it. But, and then what I can do is change the color to, let's say, something like this. And then you can see it would give it that look of like that border that's there. But I think it's actually a little, I don't know. We'll leave it for now. I'm going to do the same thing here. So double click on this, and then we will Control C, Control Shift V, and I'm just going to kind of go up a little bit, and I guess to the right one. Okay, so I'm just using the arrow keys up, and then I put arrow key to the right a little bit. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take the stroke of this, and we will sample, I guess, this color. There we go. And there we go. Now it looks like it has those bars, kind of. All right, good. The last thing I want to do is just add the little rungs across here because it looks kind of weird without having them. And I am just basically gonna kind of do this. So I'm just gonna go, I guess here to here. Actually, let's start in the middle. I'm gonna go from this one up to there, and this one to here, and this one to here. That doesn't look very good. Let's try that again. There, I guess. And then we'll do the same thing here. So I'm going to hit I for the eyedropper tool and grab that color. And I'm just going to hit this little thing to swap the color. So now it's the stroke color. Grab my line tool. And I'm just going to do these guys here. I'll do every one to start with. Or every other one, I mean. And then what I'm going to do is then cut in between. Because that way it should snap halfway between each of them. Kind of annoyingly looks weird. And then we'll go halfway between those. And that should give it roughly the look of that underhang thing. Alright, no happy little trees here, sorry guys. Okay, and there we go. So we'll call that the building. Obviously you could use a lot more details and other things, you know, like even like drawing a line across here probably would look better. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that there, and then I'm going to eye this, the stroke, hit the N for line tool, and draw this across here too. And then we'll also draw it across this one. I don't know. Okay, so obviously this could use a lot more work and stuff, but this should be okay. We'll call that the building. Okay, so that's the building, you know, rough, whatever. So I'm going to turn that guy off, and then we're going to go to the sign wall, and I'm going to turn that on. And I need to basically do a gradient for this, right? So it's got to go a gradient from one color to this color. So I'm actually going to turn this guy back on so I can use the reference. So I'm going to gradient from this color to, I guess, maybe this darker color up here. Okay, so to do that, we're going to need to grab my fill. Where are you, Phil? It should be K, I think, right? Is it K? Yeah, K. And I need to do a fill. So I'll click on here, and then you'll see we have our fills down here. So I'm going to click on the fill. But how do I change it? It's kind of a weird way, but you go to Window, and then you'll see Color. And then just change it to Linear Gradient. And then we can do it here. So I'm going to click on this guy. Oops, pull that guy off. I didn't really want that. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to sample the darker color. Just click back on that. God bless it. Seriously? Alright, put the window back on. It like went away. Back to linear gradient. Okay. And then my light color, I'm just going to double click on that, and I'm going to sample the light color. And let's make sure the sign wall is, and basically we can paint on it. But I'm actually looking at my fill, and let's just make sure the color's a little bit better than that actually. So go back to color, sorry. And I'm just going to click on this guy, not you, click on this guy, and just make sure you drag this down a little bit darker. And then this one's light enough, that's fine. I'm just going to minimize that. And then the other thing you want to do when you have this fill selected is make sure that this is not on. If this is on, it doesn't let you fill. So the way it works kind of like Photoshop, where you can click and drag the gradient. So if I click and drag a small spot, see how I'm dragging it, and that's how it works. So I'm going to click. If you just click, it will do the full breadth of it in the object, but you have less control. So it's sort of up to you how you want to go about doing it. In fact, I'm going to click. Yeah, we'll just. I'm worried that's a little bit too dark. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little darker than I would like. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine. I don't care that much. Okay. So now we have the sign there. That looks acceptable. And now it's just the grass. Those are really the hard ones. So let's go to the ground here. Let's undo that. Yeah, we have ground. And I will then paint those. So make sure we got the fill tool. Okay. When you select the layer, it will show me the layer thing. So I just click back on the tool again. Click on fill, and let's click on this. And let's look for a grass that would work. So we'll do something like that, and then paint it. Now what I want to show you is actually something else too. So watch this. If I go like this, and let's say there's a little bit of a hole there, right? If I go to paint this, watch it work. See how it slipped through the hole. You guys see that? So this can happen a lot when you're doing drawings and things like that. Other side. So there's a little bit of a gap. So one thing we can do is fill the gap. The other thing you can do is actually this. You'll look on the fill tool, and there's this little option here. It says don't close small gaps, close medium gaps, close large gaps. I generally just keep it on the close small gaps. You can choose the higher ones, but the problem if you do the higher ones, it'll actually like sometimes leave like corners open because it's trying to fill them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it'll. So you can see small one was not enough. Try medium. I guess this is a pretty big picture. So, and there you go, large gaps. So it was able to fill that little hole. Like it looks for those gaps and it fills them. Generally speaking, I don't use. I would just keep it on small. All right, so we got that for that. And then I just need the concrete color. So let's click on this. And again, we'll just do this. And let's go over here. And go like that. Let's go a little bit more gray. There we go. And we'll just paint that like that. Okay. And yeah, I don't really, that's good enough for me. Okay, so let's turn that one off. Turn the clouds on, the clouds and the trees, and all we're going to do basically is kind of the same thing. So obviously clouds are white. Well, if they're happy little clouds are white. It might not be, but because I got them selected. So I'm going to hit V, unselect them, and then click on the tool. Okay, so click on that, and we'll just do white for the clouds. I'm just going to fill these guys up. Yay. Okay, so you can see this one actually has a gap in it somewhere. Actually, undo that. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I want to show you another little trick. So if you look, you'll notice that, like, see how this is really straight right here? Because we use the pencil tool, and sometimes the smoothing's a little bit weird. One of the things you can do that's kind of fun is this. If I want to try and select everything that's on this layer, the easiest way is actually to click off the layer, then click back on the layer, and it'll automatically select everything on the layer. And then over here, you get all the options. This right now is on the layer, but if I go to the object, you can see it'll give me the settings for the object that's in that layer, right? So what I'm going to do is on down here, you can see it says smoothen and straighten. I'm going to click smoothen a whole bunch, and you're going to see it's actually going to smooth out my drawings as much as it kind of can. And because these are clouds, I'm kind of okay with that. Although I lost a little bit of. You're going to lose some fidelity when you do that because obviously it's smoothing out the lines, but that's kind of a neat thing that you can do. Anyway, so I'm going to click back off, and now I'm going to go ahead and paint these white. So white, white, and then that one's not filling, so let's just try using large gap. There we go. We'll put that back to small gap. I don't like to keep it on large because it might be weird later on. I'll make these trees just a darker green. Click on this, and we'll just use that. Oh, looks like that's also not filling. There we go. Okay, and back to small gap. All right, and now if we were to look at all of our layers being on, let's put clouds, trees in the back. You can see we sort of have a background. Oh, we also need a sky, but what I can do actually, instead of making a sky color, I can actually just change it. So if you have nothing selected, you'll notice that if you go to the properties, it actually gives you the stage properties. So I can actually change the stage color here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. Come on. Why is it? Okay. Oh my god. All right. And I don't know why it keeps auto clicking on me, which is a little bit frustrating. We'll go with that. So you can change the stage color. I think it's because of I don't know if you guys see my little guy there. I think it's making me click. So anyway, I can change the stage color there and just use that as my guide. I'll probably do it again later to make it look a little bit better. But yeah, so we're going to call that the background. it looks pretty okay. Yeah, the only other thing basically actually is that Cecil College writing. Um, but I'm not worried about that. So we'll call that the background. That looks like the thing. Actually, you know what? We should really do that. So let's make another layer. Go like this. I'm gonna open up my text, and then I'm just gonna use Arial just because Arial is airy. Come on, give me Arial. There we go, Arial. And then we'll do bold. Come on, bold. Um, and for the fill, we're gonna do like a dark gray. All right, and then I am just going to write. I think it's, what does it say exactly? I don't even, not even all that sure. It just says, okay, it says Cecil College. Okay, so oops, it's caps lock. Cecil College. Okay, that is probably good. And let's just, I'm gonna hit Control A to select all, and we're just gonna make this bigger. So let's try like 72. Needs to be a little bit bigger than that, but that will probably, let's do 96. Okay, and I'm just gonna grab this handle, pull this one out so that the whole thing fits. Let's pull this up because that's a little ridiculous. And that's fine. Do I need anything else in here? Let me see. Options, we don't need the filters for it. And yeah, that's fine. Okay, good. So now we got Cecil College. And let's turn the other layers back on. And for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. I might fix that later on. And we'll just call this C. Oops, that's like a caps lock on. Caps lock. We'll just call it Cecil. Okay. And I'm just going to put that after the sign wall but behind the ground. Okay, good. All right. We'll call that good. All right, so I'm going to save what we have here, and then we're just going to do the character